I'm Dylan. I'm a 3D artist from the UK. At the moment, I'm freelance, mostly in the advertising and esports industry. But I'm looking to get some experience in the film industry because I think that might be where I belong. I drew a lot of inspiration from the Dune movies and Wadi Rum, the desert it was shot in, and a load of other films. Yeah, I was just using that as reference. I think a lot of artists took inspiration from Dune, consciously or not. I've seen a lot of like deserty renders and ancient Middle Eastern culture as well for the architecture and stuff. Often the characters are like the focal point of a shot, right? Like you put them in focus in the light. But I decided to do kind of the opposite for this because I wanted it to feel like you are one of these wanderers or travelers visiting this city, and so you're less interested in your fellow wanderers, and like you're focused on this amazing aqueduct in the city. So I put that in the middle, in the light and everything, and the characters more like out of focus in the just kind of in the foreground. Actually, I showed this render to my dad, like an early preview, and with his very logical brain, he's like, "Who's shooting this? Like, is the camera attached to one of these camels or something?" And it got me really thinking, because it's like the camera shake as if it's handheld, but it's moving. The camera's moving more like a drone, and so it doesn't entirely make sense. But I tried having the camera more like on one of these camels and like moving slower, because at the moment it's moving pretty quick. The huge slow-moving waterfall helps sell the scale a lot, and also the haze I added to the background. And as for the detail, a lot of it is just high poly models and scattering, and just days and days of placing little details in there. There's a few other like smaller techniques, like using your albedo map as a bump map, as well as a normal map, to like add some little micro details. For me, I think it was making the camel animation feel real. I think human and creature animation is one of or maybe the most difficult aspect of 3D, at least for me, and it's probably something that would really benefit from going to animation school and learning anatomy and stuff like that. It doesn't interest me that much, but I was able to, I think, overcome it on this by I kind of traced a reference video of a camel, like frame by frame, and then ran a fat or muscle simulation on top in Houdini, which like gave it that weight. I was also using a simple FK rig for the camel, which like my rigging skills are pretty bad, so I just worked with that, which also made it much more challenging. A lot of the things I struggle with in 3D, I think I just overcome with my like creative eye for what looks right. And I think that's one of those cases where if I had a good rig, like an IK rig, it would have done some of that heavy lifting for me and maybe been less challenging. But it's the sort of stuff like that that's more technical that interests me. Yeah, I found out about the Ruins challenge through using Fox Renderfarm. It was like on the homepage. I use it for those like tight deadline jobs because it's so fast. I remember the first time I used it actually. I like put in my project and it assigned, it must have been like off-peak hours or something. It assigned 140 90s to this one shot, and I was like, my jaw was on the floor. It's so crazy how fast it is. And also I heard it's powered entirely by renewables, hydro and wind on your website. I saw that's really, really cool. And everyone's really friendly that I've met from Fox Renderfarm. So yeah, I love it. I think all I can say that helped me is to treat it as a personal project as well. So then it's like, like in my case, if I didn't win, I'd still be really happy with what I created.